Hi, I'm Bailey. This is Bailey Talks, where I talk, you listen, and hopefully we both learn something along the way. No scripts, no filters, just unique conversations. Let's see where we end up.
Yep. Whoa! We're on, baby. We're hot.
And you're so used to all this shit too, because you're like, and obviously we'll talk about
This is
Mad
one, two,
Muso,
three.
DJ, the man, Jerome.
What's happening?
Should we shot first? Welcome back, everyone. Bailey Talks. Jerome's
Oh, cheers,
done
baby.
the courtesy of pouring us a little shot.
It says
Jay,
one-
get in here,
It
mate.
says one shot, one opportunity.
Perfect.
What a
Perfect.
freaking great one. Let's do it right over the equipment. Perfect.
Cheers, guys. Don't spill it. Or spill it.
Oh,
Ah!
nothing like 7 a.m. shots. Does
Mate.
anyone know what time it is?
Mate, I was literally just saying to you, like I was in here by myself for a little bit and it felt a bit weird because the times I've been here, and often you've been here as well, we've either been, a couple of beers under our belt.
I actually found a video of, remember when you and Scotty
Dancing.
and over in the corner.
I remember that,
I'll send it to you.
bro.
You can flip it up right now on the screen, just here.
Actually, you know what we should do? And then we should do like a little reel of us being in here low-key and then that reel, bounce
Yeah.
back to it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We've had some great nights here,
There's
bro.
been some great times in
But
here.
I was just looking around at
Yeah.
the details that have gone into this place. Like, a lot of this has come from you.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start from the start.
Go,
if you
bro.
really want, because it's
I
actually
do.
it's actually a fantastic.
That's
story.
exactly
it's
what I
actually
want.
really good.
Yes, bro. Yes.
So am I yelling?
No,
I feel
no,
like
no,
I'm
you're
yelling.
good. No, you're good.
Can I turn my cans down a little
Yeah,
bit?
yeah.
Which ones are they?
You might be 2 or 1, bro.
Let's try it.
50-50
1, 2, 1,
split.
2, 1, 2. That one, yeah.
How's that?
Perfect.
That's okay.
Yep, excellent.
Cans, bro. I like that chat too. Cans.
Need more cowbell in my can. So the story, it's actually a really good story, and because I was only ever from muso background,
Yep.
which I would go to all the venues and I would see what makes them good.
Yep.
And I would see like what ones are popping off all the time, what ones are, like fail really quickly.
Yep.
And I just would always have ideas, and because I'm standing up there playing for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Just like singing to drunk
So
people,
you're just
seeing the
looking
bar,
around,
yeah,
going, what's working?
Yeah, and I'm like, I want to like what's making money here, and like why people stay. But it was more the thing of like, why do people stay or go to a pub?
True.
Like what
makes it good?
What makes you like you feel comfy
On
or
a,
it's
on a
something that
Saturday
you like?
arvo, when you say to your mates, let's go here.
Yeah,
why do you say that?
Why? And is it because it's a habitual thing, like everybody has been, like it's the place where you go?
Yep.
And like then when a new place happens, is it because it's just a hot new place, or is it actually like good?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
yeah.
I had a lot of time to think about that. And then anyway, the story goes, it's a long one, but it might be good. Let's go.
Hit me.
Let's
Listen.
bring the bottle over, Jacob.
we
joking.
got time, bro. This is what, and this is, you know what? I'll just before we get into the story, I'll just let everyone know that Jerome was literally in my mind. I remember saying to my missus that she said, like, who do you want to be like your first guest? Because obviously me and Sammy went our different ways. I started doing my own thing.
Yep.
And I said to her, it just has to be Jerome. Like,
You
I
asked
don't
me
even
so
know-
long ago,
Bro,
and I'm so sorry,
no,
but I
it's
love that.
fine, but I'll keep pestering you until, like, I was
Yeah,
like,
no.
I'm going to keep asking Jerome until he fucking gets on it.
I felt so shit. I'm so sorry.
I'll ask you again 3 weeks later. Oh, bro, like, probably now's not a great time. 3 weeks later.
Because I wanted to be like this. I wanted to be
course,
jacked
man,
up and not
of
come in and be like, oh no, because it's been a rough year. But
Man,
like,
yeah.
it's. I wanted to obviously we gel.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Man, I should come on once a month.
Oh, bro.
We just bro down.
I would love. And the first thing I literally wrote down was first impressions last, right? I remember when I first met you, just to go off.
Yeah,
topic
no,
for a
go.
second. Heard a lot about you, right? Had a lot of mutual friends.
Yeah.
Hadn't met you. I met you at the gym for the first time, and I remember it was literally everything that I had heard about you just hit me there and then. It was like this big ball of energy, just charismatic, positive, loving, and it was just like your presence was so unique, and you don't see it often. And it hit me hard.
Yeah.
And I thought, I almost sat back, and it was almost overwhelming. And I was like,
That's
That-
100%.
everyone's right,
Some people, Dylan Nilsson, he was like, when I first came to the gym, he was like, who is this?
What the
fuck?
who is
Like,
this
what I mean?
dickhead? Yeah.
And then when especially dudes realize that it's like I'm not doing it to be this boisterous alpha male. I'm just literally want
true.
everyone to have a good time.
True.
Then it just turns around, and then it's just like this guy just wants every single person to have a
It's easy
good
to
time.
judge though. Early when you meet someone, like
but you know,
said,
when you first see someone come into a room and they're being loud, and that's me. Like I'm just like, let's
fucking go.
Yeah, let's go.
I love it. You just walk in straight.
just
Yeah, let's
walk
do a
straight.
shot. So hey, give me the backstory here, because when I first moved to Newcastle, my earliest memories years back was literally coming in here with you and Erpy
Yep.
and doing shots behind the bar.
Yeah.
This was my first memories moving here.
And you would have, how long ago was that?
Bro, that was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay, that would have been when it was fucking the hot spot.
Yeah.
And which makes the story even greater. So the long-winded version is, so gigged like this last 10, 15 years of my life, always seen venues, always wanted to open something because I knew I had all the right ideas. And I always knew that it needed to be a theme. And this was before the 90s had its resurgence, so 5-6 years ago, before people were reselling sneakers, before it had become the mainstream, like before people were still playing old consoles and shit. I collected that shit. I was a nerd.
Yeah.
So I had basketball cards.
Shoes, car,
shoes,
all that
man.
shit, which we'll get into.
So that was my shtick anyway. Like I would, before it was cool, not saying that I'm the mad cunt that made it cool.
Yeah.
But I was like a closet sneakerhead and would collect games and play Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat and all that stuff. And then anyway, so I was living with Pooley and Angus.
Spoke to him today.
Did you? God, I love that guy's getting married.
He gave me so many notes.
Awesome.
And I was like,
I love that guy.
He was telling me shit and I was like, there's no way. Like, serious? Like, he's like, yeah, bro.
I hope we get into something like that.
For sure, bro.
So we were living together, and Mo Matthew as well. Everyone knows Newcastle legend Mo Matthew.
Of course.
And I actually, biggest shout out to him for like creating the opportunity almost subconsciously, because we were living together. We walked down to Guzman, we're getting a burrito, and we walked past an empty shop front. And Mo's just a genius all the time. He's always just thinking about what would be cool. I still even remember, like he was banging on about silent discos before people were doing them. Yeah, right. and he already got the headphones and was trialing them out, and like, you know, Kingers and stuff before it was like popular, and like he's got that brain. And we walked past this empty shop front, like, you know, burritos in hand, walking back to the house, and he just goes, it was when, so sneakers, I'd already had a bit of a collection and sneakers were starting to, you know, on the rise.
Taking off a bit.
Yeah.
More popular.
And he's like, you know what, it would be good to open up a cafe where you get a coffee, but then you hand in your sneakers and they get cleaned.
Wow.
And I was like, that's a sick idea. And then anyway, didn't think anything of it. Deep throat our fucking burritos, get home.
Yeah.
And then the next week, he just calls me out of the blue. Like, we're living together though, so he calls me and I'm like, what's he like? Is he locked out?
Yeah.
And then I answered. He goes, I've been thinking more about that space in like, you reckon it should be more like, you know, you drop your shoes off or you can sit in. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And then I said, the space we walked past the other day. We barely even talked about that. Like,
he spent the whole week.
Yeah, he spent the whole week thinking about it. So then his brain's still clicking over, and then he goes, you know, another week goes by, and we're in the kitchen, and he goes, what are some good names for sneakers that we can call the place? And I'm like, we haven't even talked about that it's actually, that this is the thing. Like,
that's where his head is,
and this is what he taught me, was like that anything that you think of can be done.
It can happen.
So he thought of that and was already thinking about, all right, well, how's it going to work?
Yep.
I thought that we were just shit talking.
Yeah.
And so it piqued my interest, because I was in love with sneakers, and he knew that I love sneakers. So he was trying to be like, what would be good?
Yeah.
And then anyway, so then another couple of weeks go down the track, and then he just goes, so I found a spot.
Oh my God.
Dude, I was peaking. I was like, stop. I was like, Mo.
And you would have been egging him on too. Like, you'd been like giving him all these ideas.
I was giving him these ideas, but then he just goes,
He's following through with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Not many people do.
Mo, he does. He's an absolute legend.
Yeah.
So he goes, I found this space. Let's go have a look at it. It's the guys from Meat originally had the lease for this space.
Yeah.
And they were going to turn it into something, but just like Meat blew up, heaps
really
busy.
well,
So that way they didn't have time to do the little bar.
Yeah.
And so Mo goes, they want to get rid of the lease.
Yeah.
We're going to go in. And so I'm like, holy shit. And man, when I'm saying I'm peaking, like, I grew up in the most modest setting. I really didn't have any money, and then I kind of gradually made something into myself with gigging, which we'll talk about in a second. But I was like, there's no fucking way I can sign a lease or start a business. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And then on the day it comes for us to come have a look, and he rings me the morning of, no word of like, get him on and he can talk about it.
I will.
And he goes, oh mate, you know, I'm not going to be able to come have a look at that. I'm not going to be able to come look at the space. So you just go, and because I actually can't be involved. I've just opened up another cafe. He opened up a cafe up the coast.
So he's done it all. He's put you there. He's thrown you under the bus.
Dude, 100%
in the deep end.
Which is
you're rocked up going, what the
turned out to be great, right?
Of course.
So I'm peeking, and I'm like, I'll just go have a look, and then I'm like, I can't do it by myself. I need to call someone. And I had a best mate at the time. We used to work out the front of the club together, being hosts, and it was the one and only Sam Herb. And I on the day for me coming to have a look, I called him and said, "Do you want to open a bar?" And he just goes to the phone, goes silent. He goes, "Yeah." And I was like,
and I his voice too. I know that voice.
He goes, "Yeah," like because you could see his wheels, the wheels ticking. And then I said, "Can you meet at 2 p.m. this afternoon?"
Yeah, we're gonna look at it.
And he was like, "Yep." And then he just came down, man, and it was a match made in heaven because all the ideas that I had. So we walked through the space and it looked nothing like this. Obviously, it was like it felt a little bit more like an office space with a bar in it.
Yeah.
And I just started rattling off all these ideas, which were crazy at the time. Like, imagine people saying we're gonna have basketball carts stacked up, gaming consoles, sneakers, and
sneakers in the thing.
Yeah, and everyone else would have just been like, "That's silly," and they were, but. Herbie just goes, "Yeah, how do you want to do it?" And we're going
to make it happen.
Yeah.
And you made it happen.
And he just said, "Let's make it happen." We signed. I've still got I'll get the photo up of us. We're holding the key out the front like this.
Yeah.
And then we just sat in here, we designed and planned the whole thing ourselves, no outside help. And we got Jono McManus, one of our builder friends, to come in and help. Lawrence Fotef too came in for a little bit. And just any of the ideas that I had, they would just get it done. So like this table here, it's a floating, empty backlit table.
Was that what you planned?
So I said, I want people to be able to sit at a table that's illuminated with sneakers in it, but you can't get to the sneakers because they're expensive. And
how long did that take to come to fruition?
It was like maybe, I think, it was like 9 months of building or something. Just because we were doing the building and then the designing ourselves and then also building the business at the same time.
Yeah.
And
run me through like when you got to opening.
Okay, so we do all the building part nearly broke us because not broke us as in like we put money in. Yeah. But broke us because it was like us doing like I hand stuck every single one of them.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it took ages, man. And there's like some good cards in there. There's actually like the whole starting All-Stars team with Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan up there probably have made them worthless, but now they're on the wall for everybody to see. So that's great.
That's awesome, man.
So that really burn us, like, do you know what I mean? And then we were like, not burn us, but a lot of effort.
Any second guessing? Like
heaps of second guessing.
Fuck,
because I'll never.
You're sitting here doing these ones, going, this better be fucking worth it. I better.
And if that was anything I was going to say to anyone, you know how everyone always does that cliche. Don't listen to your gut.
Yeah, gut feeling.
This was one of those things where I was like, I said sneakers, and I remember a couple of older people would come through, like with relatives of ours or like connected to us, and would come through and be like, What is this? Yeah, this is stupid.
And like,
I think even Burnsy. Burnsy, he admitted it after we opened. He was like, "Mate, I thought that was the dummest idea."
I was actually messaging him today. He was about the wedding suite.
Yeah. Well, so he will tell you that he was like, I thought it was going to be dumb, but then it blew up. So the whole thing was that it was nothing else anyone had ever seen.
Yeah.
We thought that it wouldn't necessarily turn into what it did. We thought that it was going to be like a busy bar where you want to go to take dates and where you want to go before and after dinner and you want to stay out late. And the music's loud and that you're vibing rather than a quiet bar. Like we've already got those. We've got the nice Colin Cedar, which is great. Katetsu. Heaps that. It was like a kind of a noisy but themed bar.
Yeah. And which we didn't have.
Not
really
anything else. Everything else is very like because we doubled down. You know what I mean? Like we built the console tables in the table and there's TVs like around the place. So
and the license is a big one too. Being able to be open late. That's a big point of difference.
That was
a lot of people are like, well, where do we go? Uptowns.
Uptowns. Perfect. So that was the perfect storm. So we made it how it was. The license was late, and then so opening day it comes to it, bro.
Shit.
And we're thinking all our friends are going to rock up, and they do, and then it just like became a bit of a vibe. Like we didn't even have a DJ in here. It was just like house music, like R&B in 2000s, but going through the house system. And it just was a vibe. And then the next weekend that we properly opened, like because we did a soft opening, it
went nuts.
the fuck up, like line out the door.
Were you expecting that? What were your expectations?
I don't know. Well, dude, have you ever doing this podcast? Do you know what I mean? You start and you go. If it does good, it does good. If it doesn't,
awesome.
But we never expected it to go how it was. I would have still been like kicking around.
We were just talking
at the time,
bro. We were just saying.
Yeah, your pub opening was like the biggest pub opening
And you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like, I mean, me and Erpy are known just because we've been around, but it was just something exciting. I think it was really just because it was
different.
Because people were coming in that we didn't know.
Yeah.
And then the best part and where we really knew that it was starting to become successful and not just your mates hyping you up was when like a little bit well-known people would come in.
Yeah,
So
true.
so Mark Hunt came in when he was in town.
Instagram photo, or you see someone come in, you're like, what
so
the
he comes in,
fuck?
I'm like, what the fuck? Like I said, Mark
Hunt.
Hunt's in the bar, bro. And he's like, no way. And then like a couple other people, like a couple of the maths girls when they were in town.
Yep.
Because people were saying this is the spot.
Yeah.
And then it just like, it was overwhelming for this little boy that just like had nothing when I was a kid to then people were coming to my place.
Yeah.
It was
just a boy with a burrito and Mo, you know, deep throat and a burrito, an idea.
And me and Sammy, we just for that whole first year, we were just inseparable. We'd be in here working on it, and then we'd be in here working at nights,
Yeah.
and then we'd be in here drinking.
Yeah.
And it was just the best. It was a big whirlwind because it was so busy. There were so many changes and so many things that happened. Like, you know, having to update shit.
What were you and Sammy like early on, like when you first started this? How'd you know Sammy? Were you just
So we met at Argyle. We used to work out the front together. So I was a host because Angus owns it. And so
course.
he would manage it. And then on Wednesday nights, I didn't need the money, but I wanted to come and hang. And he goes, got a job for you.
Yeah.
You can be the host out the front, which is the person that's got the guest list and everything.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I've got this young whippersnapper starting. And Sammy was a god back then, man. He was
Really?
like, he plays
Ripped up.
xylophone on his thing. He was a lifeguard.
Really?
Yeah, he was Australia's most eligible bachelor for sure. And he rolls in and we just clicked. You know,
Did ya?
know, Sammy.
Yeah.
So we click, and that's how we knew each other. We worked out the front there for years.
Yeah.
And then, you know, our friendship got even stronger doing this because then it was like we built something, and then it was just like.
Well, business is one of those things. I mean, obviously everything happens so quick with you guys, but business, and I'm sure you testify to this too, but getting in the business with mates, family, loved ones, people you know, it's tricky because
it's very tricky.
You've got your friendship and then you've got the business, and then it's like, well, working out what your roles are, working out how to communicate with each other, working out how to deal with disagreements.
100%.
And it's hard, man.
You just nailed every single point. That's exactly how it is. And that was no different to us, and we were great friends.
Yeah.
The only thing that was good was that we didn't let sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
Like we would, whereas a lot of other people, when they're friends, if there's a little inkling of disagreement, someone really gets their back up.
People can hold grudges.
Yeah, they
people
do.
Can get really hurt. And some people can't get over things.
They can't,
you know?
man. And it's mind blowing.
You just got to get over shit.
And you hear about businesses going under, or people like not talking to each other and whatever, and it can be all from just the littlest
tiny things, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a conversation is all you need.
Yeah. So we've always been just, even if things are weird, like, and things have got you 5 years in business together with like big money going through the tills and big hours being put in.
Yeah.
There's always
So
going to be
hard,
going to be something. So there has been, but then we talked about it.
And the other hard thing too with that, sorry to cut you off, is then who's putting more hours in.
Yeah, dude, that is
the resentment.
Always, every
like
single hospitality person
right
now that's listening will say, I know you know hospitality.
Yeah.
It will say the hours never add up right. No, they never add up right, bro. So someone in the beginning will be like going gung-ho.
Yeah.
And then the other people just think that, that's your job.
That's how it is,
So you're going to put in that much effort.
Cool.
And someone's always coasting. Someone's
That's
always
right.
coasting. And then whenever
That's
you try and
right.
be like, this is what it takes to run the business, then, you know, it's even more awkward because they've gotten used to this life of coasting. But, I mean,
it's so interesting, eh?
It's if you got to just talk about it straight up at the beginning.
You
And
do,
that's what I think why with this and other ones that we survived, because it was very mature. Everyone was mature.
What have you learned about yourself? Like, what have you learned about yourself as a man, as a person?
Yeah.
And one thing I really want to chat to you about is obviously having your daughter, but we'll wait for that.
Yeah.
Just we'll go business. We'll keep it broad.
Yeah.
What have you learned about yourself with business, being in business with friends, dealing with staff, teams, all that shit, man? I'm super fascinated in all that stuff. Like, because you, as a person, right, everyone loves you. You're a very positive, happy guy, very good to people.
Yeah.
But there's also that line where when you're running a business, you're
got to
running a business.
Yeah.
So tough conversations.
It is very hard. I feel like what I did learn was how hard it is to run a business with friends. So but with the stuff you've already said.
Yeah.
And that it is never passive income. So, you know, when people say, you know, I've got a business or I've got a house or I've got a this or that. It's just passive income. You know, I don't really work there. It never is. You're getting a message at 9 a.m. saying, you know, someone brought a knife in on the weekend and we need to go to the police, and or you know, someone slipped over, or the ice machine's not working. It's just constant.
It's all the shit.
Or Bailey's in here dropping it low. Booyakasha.
Why is Bailey behind the bar free pouring Grey Goose when he's not supposed to be?
Yeah, dude. You know Shandor? Bro. He used to come in like a house on fire because he's a big boy too. Bro. We met twice, and then he was just like, "You're my brother for life." So he would come in like he owned the place, and he would get things from behind the bar and try and pour himself, and the girls would be like, "We're kicking this bastard out." I'm like, "No, he's good, but he's just having a good time." But so getting back to learning that how hard it is, that part, and that it's not passive income, like that you're still working even when you're at home, which was tough. And then the staff thing is hard because I think I always responded better to bosses that were friendly.
True.
Like that gave me respect. That's probably a better one. When they gave me respect and cared about a little bit of my life, and you know, if I'm doing the overs, they would come up and say, "Oh, you know, you're doing well," and that kind of stuff. And ask nicely. I would work better, and I would want their approval.
True.
Whereas when a boss treats you like a piece of shit,
you don't want to fucking work. You don't want to do well.
Spitting in the Kool-Aid.
100%, bro. Spitting in the pickle burger. Working at Macca's, wiping your nuts in the fucking pickles, you know. But hey, tell me about, so even going before this with your, like, I want to hear about your background.
Gigging, that's because that's another crazy one.
Music's a big one, man.
Yeah,
I don't know a whole lot. Obviously, I know that you perform a lot of weddings, you do a lot of events, things like that. Run me back to the start. This is your love with music and how you got into music. And
that's another good story, because the music money is what enabled us to do this in the first place. So if I didn't take the risk on that side, then I wouldn't have gone to this level. And then if I didn't take the risk on this level, then I wouldn't have been able to go to now like Ravella, which is, you know, 10 times the size, which we'll get to that.
We will, because I'm keen to chat about that as well.
So the music one's like another interesting story. None of my stories are fucking boring. Like, So it was ages. It was like 14 years ago when I first started. Like, I was already gigging at pubs, but 14 years ago when I finished up my job and wanted to go full-time music, because no one was really doing it. Like, people would be like, "Oh, you're a muso." Like, what else do you do? And I was like, nothing. Because I doubled down. So once again, I was like, there's money to be made. There's not really, back then you couldn't just go and hire a wedding band. You'd have to go to the pub, see a band, and be like, "Do you guys want to play my wedding?" So, and they're all shit. And so I was like, I was friends with a bunch of heaps good musos, like musos that are way beyond even
gang youths.
Big Donnie, baby.
I've done some research.
So Donnie was our drummer before he was in gang youths. And so so good musos like that and musos full. Newcastle is full of good musos, like heaps good musos. And so I was like, what if we just did some recording and uploaded it on this cool thing, YouTube? No one's doing that. So we just spent some time, and bands were never doing this back then. Was just like doing a good recording, getting dressed up, playing a couple of good songs that were good for weddings, and then just posting them, and then I could send them to people. And then that blew up. So people would just see the video and be like, "You're booked." Like, how do we book you
for the wedding? Let's do it.
So then that grew from not advertising at all to then doing 3 gigs a week. To then to being in a price point where we needed to price ourselves up out of the market because we were too busy. And then and like, it sounds like that I'm not saying any of this in a douchey way. I'm saying this in how surprised I was myself.
It was relative to how you were at the time. How things were.
And then just created this amazing relationship with Donnie from Gangs and Andy Fuzz and a guy called Jacob Neal and Adam Morris. So that was the collective. It was like us, man. And we ruled the wedding circuit.
What was the what Purley told me?
Master Blaster.
That's right, Master Blaster. Here we are, Master
Blaster. We would call it.
And
so the boys used to just see me get up every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They would have finished from the club, so they're kind of kicking around the house in the morning late, and I would just be in a suit going out into the vineyards, like, just every week.
Another wedding.
10 years. And what that did is, you know, when you play at a wedding and you're good, then that's 100 people at that wedding that go,
right,
who was that? And then it kept going and going and going to the point, man, where like the first wedding we ever did, I think I made $200. and it was out at Swansea RSL.
Yeah.
And then to now, like the repertoire, and this is once again not through anything but hard work and contacts. Like we got to play at Steph Claire Smith's wedding and Joshy Miller's, and became good friends with Joshy.
True.
And like they're from Melbourne, so they could have picked anyone. But they just saw some clips, and like when we met, and they were like, man, they even asked heaps cute. They sent me this video and put, D12, my band, the song, my band. Yeah. They sent me that. They were in the kitchen and they were singing that together. Like, do you want to be my band? It was cute. It was the best. And so that was kind of like, once again, another pinch yourself moment of like, we must be good.
Yeah.
And then, Donnie gets poached for Gang of Youths.
Yeah.
And we were just all freaking out.
That's crazy because they're massive, man.
And so this is how humble all this crew is. And like, people would probably say, "Oh, Jerome's like I'm very humble, but I'm just also very loud and proud."
Yeah.
Like it's like all these moments I don't take for granted at all. But I remember one time sitting with Andy, our keyboard player, and Dom in the car, and he goes, "Oh, we've just recorded this album. Like, do you guys want to hear it?" And it was I think it was the Go Farther and Lightness album, which was their ARIA award-winning album.
Shit.
We're listening to it in the car out the thing someone's wedding, and I'm like, this is sick. It's got the song, "Not Everything Means Something, Honey." It's the best song, man. And that was fucking out-of-body experience. Then he went and played at the Arias.
Holy shit!
And the next day came and did a wedding with us. It was insane.
Wow.
So that meteoric.
Mediocre?
No, meteoric rise.
Meteoric rise.
Oh,
Shit, that's even bigger.
Let's cut that last 5 seconds out because I sound so dumb. That rise was a bit of a whirlwind too, because then we were playing these hectic gigs. Yeah. And then he was like, Gang Users winning awards and everything. And
he was there.
And they were the hot topic, And then he's like, I'm thinking I'm going to have to quit my normal job, the band, and then we're going to move to London. And so they were getting, flown out everywhere. And they did that, the famous, the Triple J recorded it. I think it was Splendour in the Grass. The performance where Dave's dancing at the front. I think it's... I can't remember the song, but everyone fell in. That's
Loved
when everyone, So they blew up, and then he was out. He moved to London, and so then probably another 2 years after that, we kept going with Ads Morris. I don't know if you've met him, but he's an absolute legend as well. And then we did Tiger Lily's wedding, and we did a couple of football players' weddings. And this is once again not that anyone's more important than anyone else, but it was the fact that these people are in the industry where they could choose anyone, and they were like,
"We want you guys.
Where are you at?"
Yeah,
and so
how busy were you got? Like we use like pumping weddings,
dude. I think my count now is functions, because we did weddings and events,
of course,
and functions and and school formals, like all of that stuff. We've probably done I've attended maybe 1,000.
Holy shit!
Weddings and functions.
But you do a few just yourself as well.
Yeah, just myself. So like we'd just maybe on a quieter Friday they just want ceremony, so I'd go to that one, and then so it was like 3 days. It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot. And that eventually ended up not being sustainable. I ended up burning out, and then had a little bit of hiatus. But the actual like journey from like I said, earning $200 at the bowling club to then playing these extravagant weddings where they would, and like some of them would even be like, we'll fly you to the Hayman Island and Bali and all that kind of stuff. I was just like, why? Like, and once again, coming from my lower income background, I was like, oh, you don't have to do that. I was like, just get someone
off that or something.
Yeah. So it was amazing, man. And then,
but you know what? Like you said though, it makes you want to do better and do more for them because they're valuing 100%, what you're doing, and that's so what you want to go and do a good job.
And I always would, like even when things weren't included, I was always like running around trying to make an effort
for them. Yeah. True.
Which I love. I really just love helping people, man. I don't know whether it's because it's ingrained from my mum, but because she didn't really have anything and she always was given to everyone else, and she really looked after us kids. And I'm just like, I just want people to have a good time. Like once again, like I said before. So if it's someone's wedding, and like, someone, I remember a bride forgot her wedding song one time. She was meant to bring an iPod with it on, like it already on there. Oh my God. And this is before Spotify was really a big thing. Like it was only just out. And so we're out in the vineyards, no reception. So I hopped in the car and drove into town for it.
Got it for it.
Yeah, got it for it.
Has there been any other like crazy memorable moments at weddings?
Man.
Any like crazy,
so many crazy memorable moments,
bro.
I actually want to start a podcast which tells some of the stories, so I'll leave some of the stories.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think maybe the the funniest.
Any crazy shit?
there's
There'd be
crazy.
so
There's,
much.
there's bad
For
stuff
sure,
too, man. Like
for sure.
I think the craziest story was, I'll tell you the most scandalous.
Yeah,
and
tell
but this
me.
isn't one that I attended, but my band boys were there.
Yeah.
And this one I wasn't at. Probably lucky. Is the the wedding's kicked off, everyone's married, having a good time, and people are sneaking in and out of the bathroom, doing whatever they're gonna do.
Whatever.
Owner comes into the bathrooms and sees two people in a cubicle. Obviously, like, we're not going to stand for that.
Yeah.
Knocks on the door and hears and sees a ruffling, and then kind of peeks through the crack and can see that it's people putting their clothes back on.
You're kidding.
Yeah. Okay. And I was like, not that I was there, but when the boys were telling me, I was like, oh yes.
Realistically, it's him in the cubicle.
I wasn't there. No, this definitely wasn't me.
Shoes
Everyone
like
listening to this.
Yeah,
Ads Morris can attest to it, and so can Jason Bone, please. So then they open the door, and it's the groom
No way.
and a bridesmaid.
You're kidding.
And so the owner, yeah, bro.
Holy shit.
So the owner or the manager of the
What did you
venue,
do there?
the owner of the manager of the venue goes to boot him.
Oh
I
my
think I wasn't
God.
sure if because he hadn't said that he was the groom, and the grooms and the bridal party all wear the
Yeah,
same suit,
thing.
maybe just a different lapel. So I'm not sure if she cottoned on yet that he was the groom, but it was, and so she's like, they got to get out. They're in the same cubicle together, getting frisky and doing drugs.
Yep.
And then everyone was like, no, you can't kick him out. He's the groom.
It's his wedding.
And then she was like, well, he was in there with a bridesmaid.
Oh my God,
and
bro.
that was apparently just absolutely...
Can you imagine?
Dude, and there's been, other ones too where, like, Gramps, like some of the oldies, they've been on the dance floor a bit too hard.
Oh, shit.
Heart attack.
Dead.
Not dead, but just heart attack.
Fuck.
While upright. And have you ever seen someone go limp and then just fall?
Boom.
Like when they get knocked out in UFC and they just
Hit
fall
the
on
deck.
and
Yeah,
their
yeah,
arms
stiff.
go up. So we're playing. I hate to laugh, bruv.
No.
I hate to laugh.
Oh, listen, if you don't laugh, you'll fucking
because
cry.
I'm happy long if you
feel it, I'm happy to say the truth.
because
I'm
and then
happy
just
to
but you hear the thud. And then the band just goes like the drummer's kind of still playing.
Yeah,
everyone's just everyone's going crying, and we're like, do we stop? Because that makes it even more awkward. Yeah.
Of course, you can't keep playing.
No, but you can't keep playing, but you can't go
But it's
completely
also
silent.
like if it's dead silent.
Yeah, if it's dead silent, everyone's gathering around. So we've had a couple of them where someone's
Shit.
fainted. No deaths or anything, but
Man, like obviously we got Nick Poole's wedding this weekend.
Yeah.
Are you playing there, right?
yeah, because
You know I'm emceeing the wedding.
what?
And also, we're on the same table.
Get out.
So there's two things.
We can tag team and we can do like what they do in
should do
Step Brothers,
some
where they
stuff.
wear the suits and I stand behind you. And you're like, I think I understand the pan situation.
Can we just become best friends? Yeah. Get into a crowd in the kitchen? Yep.
Yep, that'd be me and you.
Bro, speaking of funny wedding stories, just quickly, I was talking to Dad. I was away in Tassie last week, and I was saying to Dad, he's emceed fucking heaps of weddings. I said,
How did he score you emceeing it?
because he's a fucking tight ass and he's paying me nothing. And that's one of my first jokes I'm going to make is that I asked myself, I don't want to break too many. Actually, no, we'll be able to because the week after this comes out. One of my first jokes is like, I asked myself, why am I actually doing this? Why am I emceeing this wedding? I don't have to do this.
MCing is actually a really important job. Not saying that for pressure, but it's like it creates the whole flavor of the night.
Yeah.
Like if someone gets up and you being yourself, being like, "Hey,
Energy.
everybody," and you're well spoken and you know what's going on, that creates
Big time.
what it is for the rest of the night.
Because when the ceremony begins, I'm the first one that has the mic, and I'm very conscious of. I've been to weddings where it's just talk, and
worst.
people are just like fucking wrap it up, mate. So I'm very conscious of that as well. And there's a lot of people coming up to talk, so I'm like, if I can just bring some energy, that's one thing I can do.
Yeah. But also you're well spoken, so following like the master,
True.
the run sheet, the master of ceremonies and everything, you're gonna kill it.
But listen to the story. I was telling Dad that I'm emceeing because he's emceed heaps of weddings, and he was telling me one of his best
What
stories.
is your dad? Someone?
He's in media, so he's on TV.
Is he?
Yeah, he hosts a fishing show. So he's like me, but on steroids.
Did we know this?
I
Pull up a clip, Jamie.
Yeah, get it up in the background.
Pull up a clip.
But listen to this, bro. One of his best mates at his wedding, he emceed, and his best mate was getting remarried to a lady named Julie. And obviously Mike said, the dad, he said, mate, you can say whatever you want, but just whatever you do, don't call Julie by the ex's name.
No,
So Emma's
too.
the ex. Emma's the ex. And dad reckons that all day he was there practicing his speech, telling himself, saying, just don't say Emma, just don't say Emma. And he reckons he got to the end bit when he was doing the congratulations and said, I just want to finally congratulate Mike and Emma. And then apparently she walked out crying and like, it was just
dude,
like
I can imagine, because that's happened. Like, just someone's fumbled over their word.
The name wrong.
Oh my God, the poor people.
And I was just thinking,
are they still together?
I think they are actually.
Oh,
but Dad reckons at the time, like you could have thought a bomb went off. So,
dude,
I'm like going into it thinking, well,
hey, I've got the
really
best opening one-liner for you.
Talk to me.
It might not be appropriate, but
no, it's fine.
The best one I've ever heard is an MC got up.
I'll write it down because I've got heaps of notes. So I'm like,
an MC got up and he goes, all right, and he obviously was just the mate that got the ring up. He goes, all right, everybody, I've been asked to be the MC tonight, and you know, I was really surprised when they started handing me all these papers because I thought MC standing for mad cunt.
Look straight at Nan. Yeah. Nan's face is just like, what?
Everyone just fucking lost it. And I think that he just sent it to speeches.
You know what the thing is too? You've just got to own it. If you say something that's a bit out there,
you've got to be
100%, I don't give a fuck if you disagree.
I've been to a couple of weddings, obviously, and I've seen some horrific ones, like where they, like you said, it just goes and it goes a bit dark even. They're like, the people that linger on, you know, couples go through shit, right?
Yeah.
The ups and downs, but everybody learns, everybody grows, and you know, and you know, there's been MCs or speeches that have happened before from people that they get up and they're like, you know, and you guys have been through some tough times, you know, and we didn't think you're gonna make it, and you know. Probably still did, and they just start going on about it for like,
all right,
a minute or two.
They made it. They're here now.
Someone's like going, all right, grandpa, just fucking get up.
We really think we didn't think you were gonna get through that. You know, that time last year when you know you're with the you're with the boys. You know, Jimmy. Remember that bender? That 4 week bender.
Bro, I'm not even joking.
Remember? You didn't talk to us for 3 weeks. Yeah, we remember that time.
Like a fucking hangover movie. That's what some speeches are, where they'll say too much, and everyone on the bridal table is just going like, don't, please.
So that's why I like for this weekend. I'm super keen, but I'm also conscious of. You don't want to overdo it as well, because you would have seen people overdo it, try to be too funny, try to
and they don't connect. But you know everyone there, so even overdoing it, you know people. It's when you don't know everyone that can be bad. Yeah,
true. So I'm looking forward to that because it's going to be.
You'll kill it, dude.
Yeah, weddings are awesome.
Weddings are the best, especially that one. I mean, Pooley's the best.
I know.
I can't wait for some of the things he's told you, because one of my fondest memories of Pooley, apart from us being the other thing, getting back to like the decorations in uptowns and like the music that we played and everything. Us boys would wake up in the morning. You can imagine us three. So Pooley, me and Angus. So Angus obviously was like the mediator.
Yeah.
He made sure that there was just enough fun. Not too much.
Not too much.
But then if he was a bit down in the dumps, then big old Jerry boy would bring him back up a little bit.
Get him up.
And then Pooley would just go with whatever I was going. So if I was in a mood, Pooley's like,
just on the back
let's fucking get party pies and have a movie marathon. I'm like, yes!
Yeah, let's do that.
That's it. That was one of our things. The best.
I love how you knew your dynamic as well.
Oh, we clicked so well. Yeah, it was the best.
Because you would agree, 3 of you in one household.
Too much.
It's either going to be
too much.
It's rocks and diamonds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, too much. Someone would have been sulking that they weren't getting enough attention.
3's always bad. Whenever I'm not going to say a bender, but when you're hanging out with people, like when there's an odd number, you're setting yourself up for failure.
True.
Someone can get left out pretty quickly.
And you can tell straight away when someone's the person keeps ducking off into the back room.
Pretends to pour another drink.
But really they're in there fucking waiting for the Uber to pick them up. But no, so one of the fondest, not fondest memories, a memorable thing is Paulie. I've come home from a gig. It's 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
I pull up at this. It's a nice house in Hamilton.
Yeah.
Like this beautiful 2-story house. It was Angus's. And we fucking pull up in the driveway. And Paulie's standing out the front with no shirt on, no shoes on, sweating profusely. And you know what he's been doing if he's sweating profusely. So he's been out. He's been out, but he's standing on the front lawn and he's like a possum in the headlights. I pulled up and he's like, and he's got something under his arm. He's got something under his arm.
This he's so like, well. Like I know exactly.
And he's licking his lips, and then he goes, bro. Anyone that knows Paulie will literally just be like, he's telling it word for word, Your Honour. He's got something under his arm, and it's a rock melon. I'm like, what's he got a rock melon for? And I get out of the car. And he goes, and I said, Bud, what you doing? I'm excited, but he's
locked in.
He's locked in. He just goes, 1 sec, bro, 1 sec. You know what does that?
Yeah.
1 sec, bro, 1 sec, bro. And he gets the rock melon and just pelts it over the roof of the house.
God.
And it hits the house behind us.
Oh my God.
And then I just went like, I've just come from someone's fucking wedding. Beautiful time. And then I'm seeing sweaty possum like no shirt on, throwing something at someone's house. And I just went, what you do that for? And he goes, oh, they're having some kind of get together. The music was on too loud. I'm like, you probably just were doing that yourself. How did you get like this?
Bro, I can literally just picture you pulling up him going, hold on. I've got to do something.
Yeah, just
wait.
1 second. Exactly it. That was a great memory.
Speaking of spontaneous, you going overseas, Europe.
Yeah,
the Olympics.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
What was that?
That was
because you know what? You know, all your viewers you had through that whole period, I was one of them.
Oh,
and
were you really?
I'd wake up in the morning going, what's Strong going to post this morning?
Because everyone closetly said, because I would wake up to a lot of replies and I was like, fucking hell, everyone's watching. But really it was just me doing a travel diaries
what
as
was
it was
that,
happening.
What was that like?
It was the fucking best.
Yeah.
Because all the bad things that happened then turned into entertainment for me too.
True.
So like
you weren't missing anything too. It was everything. Like it was every detail, every emotion, everything you're feeling.
And it's funny you say that you watched it because I didn't think that, you know, when stories are long-winded, I'm going like this, shut up.
100%.
But it became so interesting that you wanted to find out what was happening next.
But it's because you tell stories well.
Thank you,
So
man.
it's to do with it's how the stories were told. But what was that like, being overseas, going to the Olympics?
It was actually super different.
You're by yourself?
Yeah. It was super different from what I thought. I originally went over to Greece for a wedding.
Yeah.
And if anyone's thinking about stories, I'll put them all in my highlights too, because I said that I was going to do that, and you would just be. I could have made a TV series out of this.
Oh, mate.
You couldn't have made the bag getting left on the fucking train, bro. You couldn't make that up.
Yeah, true.
And then having to go get it in. Oh my gosh. So the one thing that I learned pretty quickly is, so I was over there. I was over in Greece for a wedding.
Yep.
Not so that people don't think that I'm super rich and just traveling all the time. Went over for a wedding and was paid to be there. And then I was like, can't just be in Europe for a weekend.
No way.
So I just booked a flight to Greece and then out of Amsterdam 3 weeks later, because I knew that I'll fill in the gaps.
Meantime.
Yeah, 100%. And
what was that like?
It was the best, bro. I want to travel like that all the time.
Just knowing, like, okay,
I've got to be alive.
I'm going to leaving on that date from that airport. I don't know how I'm going to get there.
Dude, that's what it was like. I had no flights booked, no accom booked. I was on the plane over there booking my accom.
True.
Yeah, bro. And which was lucky, lucky that it turned out, because obviously it was the Olympics. So
yeah, right.
Fucking, it could have been bad, but
yeah.
Anyway, someone at the wedding goes, "I'm going to the Olympics after this." I was like, "The Olympics are on. Like, even if it's a shit one." You've been to the Olympics.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Been to the Olympics, and I was like, I'll go. So I literally booked a flight and a ticket, because you got to get tickets to go to some events.
How is?
When I was drunk at the wedding, having the best time ever, and then I'm hungover on the plane the next day.
Oh my
like
God.
this, like trying to find a com. I couldn't find anywhere where I wanted, so I just was like, an expensive part of Paris. I had to stay there.
Yeah.
So that's all sorted. But then on the plane, I was buying tickets to sport. I was like, because all the track and field shit gets booked out straight away. So I was like, I might be able to see Argentina soccer players, because my background's Argentinian. My dad's a full-blown Argentinian.
Yeah, right.
Espanol.
That's
all I know. Le bebe agua.
Something water?
Yeah, baby.
Baby water?
Yeah. And so I was like, I booked all these things, but didn't realise that it all doesn't happen in Paris.
No, it's different. That's right.
It happens in the whole of fucking France, dude.
That's right.
Which is 8 hours apart.
Well, it's depending on where the venue is, in terms of what facilities they've got.
And so I remember having the mental breakdown about this on my story. Everyone was messaging going, that I didn't know that either.
Drove thought there was just one big dome, just had everything in the dome.
No, well, I thought
every sport was in the dome.
I thought they picked a city that was big enough to do all the sports.
Yeah.
Which they do kind of, but
most are.
Paris only had the track and fields. Like everything else was out. The soccer fields are 4 hours away.
Yeah.
So I just kept thinking. So when they came to Sydney and did the Olympics, they would have been coming up to fucking Raymond Terrace and Newey to do like badminton and shit. And we're thinking that it's the most.
They were at Cessnock on the track.
They're at Singleton.
The Singleton swimming pool. The Singleton swimming pool.
Ian Thorpe was down at freaking the public kiosk down there getting a flipping couple of scallops and $2 worth of chips.
Track and field, the Singleton pub.
But do you know what I mean? Like they spread it out throughout the state. I think they even across a couple of states.
You wouldn't be the only one who would have made that mistake.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like that. I really thought that it was all in Paris, but I just didn't think it was everywhere. So that was the only thing that was funny. So I would get up and
he's
be
booked 20 tickets. He's like, they can't be too far away. 4 hours, bro.
Train, and then having to organise your public transport and then coming all the way back to Paris because that's where my pad was. Not one sport I went to was in Paris.
Shit.
So I was just in there. Eating fucking steak frites, baby, and saying wee baguette to everybody. And it was like,
wee baguette.
It didn't even make sense.
Shit.
But that was sick. And then
what was it like traveling solo?
Have you done
that before?
Yeah, I have once.
Yeah.
But another time when I went to Europe, I was with a group and people, and that was sick too because you can kind of be like, everything's fun. Even if you're laying by the pool, it's fun.
Yeah.
Someone said mimosas? Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah.
2 trays.
But then when you're by yourself, you got to really make sure that you can have fun by yourself because you're either on a train by yourself, which is what made all the stories funny and fun because I was like, I could actually do that shit.
Tell a story.
So, losing my bag, eating magic mushrooms, smoking doobies and eating. I went to the same place, that little
in Amsterdam,
that dispensary machine 25 times in one day.
Can you believe that there's a place in this world, like obviously here it's so foreign to us that you'd have access to shit like that. You can go sit in a cafe, pick out your joint and smoke it.
Oh, dude.
And you take a flight and you're in a new country and you can do that shit.
Funny too, a lot of people were like, so my mum, like I grew up churchy.
Yeah.
So my mum's like, you can't do any of that. And I was like, why? And she's like, because it's illegal. And I was like, it's not illegal here.
It's very illegal.
Her brain couldn't comprehend that these things too, like the drugs. That was weed, mushrooms, and like
you can buy them over the counter. Like
you buy them out there. You just got to have them in the shop, like in the cafe.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, everyone does it, but it's just more the your brain can't let go of something you've been taught for so long of it being.
I can't do this. Why? It's illegal.
Yeah, well, it's legal here.
You can buy it right there.
Yeah. Same as when me and Jolly Willis went to LA. We landed. I mean, everyone goes to LA and smokes, but we landed when it was 4:20. Like it was 4:20, bro. No, we got off the plane. I think it was Jolly's first time, and he was just going.
Wow.
It's like a fucking
got off the plane.
Looked like Paulie in the driveway. He was like.
Over the plane door. Right, Jolly? Yeah. Sweet.
So we just went to the nearest smoke shop and like lit up you're on the street.
Yeah,
walking down the street, and then we would just like not bar hop, but like restaurant hop because we would eat and be like, laugh and eat, and then we would an hour down the street we would be like, what were we doing again? Not sure. Let's eat.
Just because.
It was the best. It was honestly the best. I think that's one of my favorite drugs. I mean, the connotations of that people probably become dependent on it is true. Like all that stuff's true. Just like alcohol, some people are dependent on alcohol. But
man, I think alcohol is a pretty bad drug.
Yeah,
I think that in terms of if you were to weigh up smoking a joint or doing some weed or whatever versus going on a night out, like I'm feeling a lot better smoking a joint 100%. The next day.
That's what people think too, and it's like, I mean, you wake up, you probably wake up a little groggy just from having a deep sleep. Because also, too, the sleep you get.
Unreal.
Oh, my God.
The THC drops.
I said to someone the other day, my mate Mitchie Revs, I said, because he's sober, but I was talking to him about, I'm eating these gummies and they make me almost sink into, like, melt into the part of the bed. Yeah. So then when you wake up, you're like, oh!
Holy shit, get me out of the bed.
You're like, oh! Almost like an old man for a little bit.
Bro, the sleep is hectic.
Yeah.
We used to, back in the sunny coast, me and my mate, we used to get THC drops, and I was always very skeptical because I didn't know how strong they were. And the guy got them off, said 2 to 3 drops max. And my mate would dabble, he'd have 5, 6, and I'd be like, bro, just give me 3, that's it. And one night he was like, we're doing it, and we'll go on about watching Bob Ross painting on YouTube. We're just sitting there watching Bob Ross, man.
That is that not the prerequisite for fucking smoking weed?
And I said to him, I said, I was feeling a bit stoned. I said, how many drops did you put on my tongue? Like, it was more than 3. He's like, I put 15, bro.
No!
And then I started wigging out like, oh my God. Text my mate going, I've had 15. I'm like,
I would have greened that instant.
Smart. No, I said to Declan, his name's Declan. I said, Declan, bro, I'm so fucking stoned.
What did you do?
Went for a walk. I got some fresh air, and the only thing I could say on that walk was just, I'm so stoned. We just like 3 steps.
Dude, no one can
Bro,
say
I'm
anything. When
fucking so
someone's stoned, bro, I'll pull up a message.
God.
When
It's the
I gave
only
my
thing I
mate a
can
come
say,
the other
bro.
day and he just kept writing it for 10 minutes. I'm so
The only thing I could say out loud was, bro, I'm so stoned.
Oh,
I was fucking baked, but geez, I had a good sleep that night. But Bob Ross, like, YouTube is like, mate.
I've never watched it.
I watched that by myself in bed. My missus is like, what the fuck are you watching? I'm like,
What a good
Bob Ross
guy.
painting, man.
I absolutely, I fell in love with mushrooms over there.
Yeah.
For the sheer reason that it's nothing like people say. Like, I mean, the people that have this connotation of, I don't want to trip and I don't want to see dragons. And I mean, you probably could if you really amped up your dose. But if you just pop a dose in your mouth, that's normal.
Yeah.
And then I kind of almost do when I was over there. I just wanted to be, because a lot of people are skeptical of these drugs that are now legal.
True.
In other countries, they're still like, oh no, and I kind of wanted to be the guinea pig and live. Like everything was real, bro.
Like, this is what you can buy. This is what I'm having.
I wasn't recording myself and then posting it the next day. I was posting it while I was in the zone,
bro. And it was
which
funny
is dangerous.
you were going again. Like you'd have some, then an hour later you'd eat, like you finish your chips and Amsterdam. Then you'd be
That's
like,
right, I
I'm fucking
remember.
back here. I'm having more. And you'd be typical packing it. And you'd go,
It was just the best. Like, I mean, I just remember sitting on the side of the canals are dirty, danky as, but just the peacefulness of people being on boats just quietly going past. I just found it fascinating, and I was just appreciating that the trees were green.
Yeah,
you could
colours.
hear people talking. It was amazing. I think it's the best.
Did you go to a sex show while you were over there?
No, I didn't.
Sinjar.
No.
We had a Kentucky. I remember we went to a sex show, and I was only just turned 9. I was pretty young. First time overseas, Kentucky.
Hang on, sorry.
You know.
Did he just say 9?
19.
Oh
Fuck,
my
sorry.
God.
I had a little bit before I started the podcast. So 9 plus 10, 19.
I was about to delete the footage.
Bro, sex shows, man, that was crazy. It was another thing that like is so illegal over here.
I know, yeah.
And you're like,
and I love him and I back him. I do love him and I back him.
Newcastle, like, you know,
You don't see that stuff.
I'm not going anywhere to watch a sex show. And people in the crowds there watching, and like this guy's teaching me new positions. I'm like, didn't exist. Like he had. Actually, I probably shouldn't.
You're taking notes down while you're in there.
But I was like, shit, man. What
I think it's what everyone goes to them when they're there. My issue with watching that shit, and the same as going to strip clubs. It's not. I don't go to them because I'm trying to be a gentleman. I just feel like that's something. I'm in the mood then.
Yeah.
I'm not like watching someone just strip and be sexual or have sex. I'm like, well, let's all make this happen now. Whereas then it's just like the lights come on and they leave, and it's like, oh my God, I hate every minute of this.
In your pants, and you're going, oh, we'll just go to a bar, eh? Just smoking on the joint.
So I'd rather just go and slam my dick in the microwave and go out.
Man, that was so crazy, because I was talking to Pilly today about your Europe trip, and I was just like, man, it was
good.
Like I was a fly on the wall just for your trip, and
I had so much fun. It's funny you say it, because I wasn't doing it because I thought everything was like I'm somebody. I was just doing things that things were happening, going to the Olympics and how and it ended up being like I'd wake up with about 200 replies of people like asking questions or being like, did you get your suitcase back, or like what happened, or I've been watching you. Some person wrote and said I got hit by a car on the weekend. But no joke, and I'm being in hospital, and your stories have been getting me through. It's been like the only thing I've been able to watch that's been able to
like. That's like the epitome of what you said at the start about wanting to make people happy.
Oh
and
man,
like,
I absolutely love it. And I absolutely love it. It was so good. But
let's turn the switch a bit. Let's go back from, because obviously we hit a little high. Let's go. I wanted to ask you about being a young dad.
Yeah.
And that process.
Yep.
Can you take me back to the moment you found out you were going to be a dad and the feeling?
It was fucked.
Was it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always been...
How old were you?
I think it was 24.
Shit.
Hang on, no, 22.
20, yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
What are you now?
21, 22, I can't tell you.
Maisie,
I can't
12?
tell you that either. People
No.
I'm forever,
We'll be able to work it out.
forever 27.
Hey, the listeners are good with numbers, all right? They'll be able to work it out.
I'm been a big advocate, and I think when she was young, I used to be very honest about. You would know too, Jacob. You've had a kid.
I met his little one today. She's beautiful.
Yeah, I don't think I've met. But anyway, moral of the story is no one is honest about how hard it is to have kids. No one's honest, so you get.
Pooly is honest.
Do you know why? Because we lived together, and Maze used to come and stay with us, and I used to tell him, and he used to see how hard it actually was.
Yeah, okay.
And I used to say to him, dude, if people all you see on Instagram and all you see on Facebook and all that is the nice shit. And I would never change it and I wouldn't do that. And there is great times, but the bad is bad. And it's so bad on your mental. Like, you know what I mean? Like this child you will always love, but the mental giveness and the, you know, it's so hard to wake up and then go to work. It's so hard to love your partner. It's so hard for breastfeeding mothers. It's like all of that shit is so hard and it never gets talked about.
It makes you wonder how many people are not faking it, but how many people are showing the good things.
50% of they faking
but the reality is at home.
And,
it's just
and I wish that, and me and Paulie were actually talking about this the other day because he said, mate, I've been saying to everyone how hard it is. Perfect testament. He said it to you because he goes, I don't ever want anyone else to be blindsided about how hard it is.
I love that from him. Like, it's very
same.
honest.
Yep, same. So the issue is that I was a young dad before everyone. So when I was saying it, I just sounded like a disgruntled customer that you couldn't go out anymore. Where I was like,
you fucked up my coffee.
Well, I was very honest. But so now I'm reaping the benefits as I've got an older child who now we hang out.
Yeah.
And I'm still living my young life because I'm always out and gigging and got cool jobs on. And, you know, she'll come to some of the venues to set up and see cool shit and we'll listen to music together. So I'm reaping the benefits now. I did miss out on a lot and it was super tough when I was young. Because also I was doing it by myself because me and her mum broke up. Now still best friends.
Which is what I wanted to ask you about that. But run me back to when you found out.
When we found out, we were together and we'd only been together for like 9 months, man. But we fell hard. We were cutesy lovers.
Yeah.
And we found out and she I just remember Maze's mum crying on the bed and I was like, we can't do this.
Shit.
We can't do this.
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh, we have to because I can't do anything else. Wow. And I was like, we're not ready. Like this and that. We're not set up.
Yeah.
And I honestly, everyone who's not planning a kid would have that conversation and just probably wouldn't be honest about it.
For sure.
They would be like, what do we do? And we all know.
And you know what?
It rhymes with smoshmotion.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is like, we won't get into that debate.
We won't get into that debate at all. But I'm saying anyone has either thought about it and has their reasons for not. But you think about it. The thing is, not everyone is overjoyed. There's a lot of people out there that are like, this is going to be tough. And that was us. We were like, this is going to be tough.
And that's like that whole debate and discussion is very ezy for people to talk about, but until you're in that position, then you don't know how you're going to feel.
Exactly. And I feel like, and it is a hot topic, but a lot of people that are trying to put in word on it either don't have kids or have never been in situations. And it's
so
just
you were there. You were in that position.
I was in that situation.
You had to have that discussion.
And we had to have that discussion and, we didn't agree. And then, but one thing, and I don't want to get emotional, but I never had a dad growing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, fuck it. Like, so not had dad, meaning like my mum had like a one night stand.
Yeah.
And he was like, and so there's no hard feelings. He didn't want to stick around.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wouldn't either. My mum was like 21 as well. And he didn't come to birth. He just kind of like wanted to wash his hands clean. Yeah. Totally understand that.
Yeah.
And then this switch flicked and I was like, I'm not going to have a kid that raises up like that.
So you use that almost as a way to encourage yourself
we're going to take it hands-on. I'm going to be the most hands-on best dad possible.
How did you, was that difficult to I guess change your mindset towards that?
Yeah, heaps. Because then at the same time you're having sleepless nights.
Yeah.
And your baby's crying all the time.
Yeah.
And your partner, you don't get along with your partner.
Yeah.
Like for a while there because you're both tired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, then I was talking to Paulie,
so hard,
Ash will be at home and it is hard to raise a kid.
Well, even just him
and then Paulie will get home from training people at the gym from 5 a.m. And then have to take some of the load. He's not replenished.
No.
You know what I mean? And that's just how the dynamic works. That's why it is so hard. But I was lucky enough that I was gigging on weekends.
Yeah.
So Monday to Friday, I was the stay-at-home dad.
Perfect.
So I was like, people probably think that I wouldn't know how to raise a child. I know better than anyone. I was doing it all, man. I was bottle feeding at night, watching Seventh Heaven reruns, just like hearts hanging out of my head. And then I was, God, I love Jessica Biel. Oh,
yeah, man.
That's another story.
Yeah.
And then Lauren would go to work, Maze's mum, and I would just be like, "What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, how do I not want to kill this kid?" And that's not saying it in a bad sense,
but it's honest.
In that I'm already tired because we've been up 4 times. How about we get out of the house? So I just started. We'd pack the car and we'd take it to Three Monkeys, and I just sat in Three Monkeys for a year. Like, we'd just go there. and then became good friends with Ant and Nick from down there.
Yep,
It's like a staple would have Eggs Benedict every freaking day. And then Maisie just learnt to be around people.
Yep.
And then because we're always out, and then that made it easier. And then started to develop a little bit of a personality. And then we just started recording funny videos together.
Rang a chat?
Rang a chat, yeah, which was an awesome. I kind of wish it blew up because it was funny, but that was just at the time because I was a stay-at-home dad, and it gave us something to do. Like it wasn't me trying to be YouTube famous because there actually wasn't any such thing as that back then yet.
No.
We just started, like people weren't doing their family vlogs and all that.
Yeah.
I just sat down with her one day and I've got all this recording gear at home from doing music.
Yeah.
And I just gave her a mic and she was just funny, and she's red hair and she's just. It was the best, and now I get to keep all that.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
how many times in your life would you have ever, like, you take photos and you barely dig through them unless you print them out? Someone's birthday once a year you flick through them, whereas I get to have all of those videos.
But also listening to you talking,
100%, man. It's not just a photo; it's an actual conversation. So, and that was good. And that being a dad around that time was when I was living with Angus and Mo.
Yeah.
And me and her mum broke up, but became friends. It was just a whole lot of communication and a whole lot of like, probably shouldn't have got married, shouldn't have been together, but actually really like each other. There was a reason why we liked each other in the beginning.
So you got through as mates, and now you're mates.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, it's the best, man.
How was that for Maisie? How old was she?
The best.
Was she?
So she wasn't old enough
to understand.
She wasn't old enough to understand that we'd broken up, and then because like we would still then go to the school carnivals together. We would still like pick her up together, and it was just the perfect breakup. Like situation with a child that you can imagine happened.
Was that
like? It wasn't at the first part of the breakup was like, hectic.
That's what I mean. At the time, wasn't you
emotional and angry like everyone does?
Now.
But I think too, I'm not a very alpha type guy. I'm not very prideful. I just I went, look, I've made these mistakes. I felt this way, and then because I said that, then she came to the table and was like, you know what, I wasn't very good at this and this and that. Yep. And then once you do that, you go, why were you? What are we fighting about?
Yeah.
Everyone else can think what they want, but
put the ego aside. Just be honest about it.
Ego aside, man, and that's what we both talk about it all the time. We're just like, how good is it not having any? Like dramas. Like we talk about Maze all the time. Like she's like, oh, can you have it this Friday? I'm like, okay.
How many couples breakups people do you see now? And obviously, you know more than me. That mum or dad going to theirs on the weekend,
they can't even go and pick up the kids.
Them, can't bring them in. Like
I know, man.
And it makes me feel sorry for them. But me being never been in that position, it's really hard.
Your parents still together?
Yeah, mum and dad. Yeah,
yeah. And see, that's a
that's exactly right. I haven't known any difference. So
yeah, exactly.
You see all these other situations, and you're sort of
see, I didn't know any different from my experience because I never had a dad from the start.
True.
So I had the complete opposite, and I was totally fine. Like some people, when they're older, their parents break up. It's messy. They cause mess. It's a rift. They get a bit of PTSD. It's upsetting. I just didn't have a dad from the start, so I was like, "What's good, mum? Like we're doing this. Your parents never broken up, so you've never had that." Maze was too young when we broke up, so now she just knows that me and mum get along well. Yeah. But if she was older and there was a messy breakup, it's bad for the kids, man. Like they really.
It's not good.
No, you got to be mature and let the pride down. If that's my only advice for people wanting to get along with their ex,
it's good.
Sometimes
good
advice,
it takes
you to apologise first, even if you're not in the wrong, and just for the sake of the kid and not having an argument.
Let me ask you this. Let me put you on the spot a little bit. I think you see a lot of people, a lot of mates I had growing up who didn't have good parents, maybe didn't have a dad, didn't have a mum. It tends to lead them to make a lot of poor choices. They use that as an excuse or a reason to act a certain way, and then, at some point I'm sort of like, well, yeah, they can do what they want because they don't have a dad or they don't have a mum, so it's been hard for them. But at what point did you have to stop feeling sorry for yourself and just have to move on?
I'm a big believer in this. Like I literally used to say it to Han all the time when we'd together, like, because she had a really rough childhood, and I always used to say you can't let that define you. You can't use it as a crutch to then get away with bad behaviour or feeling certain way. Like,
that's right.
It doesn't mean that it didn't happen, and it doesn't mean that it hasn't given you like stuff. But
it's not a cop out.
But just saying, well, I've had this, So I number one didn't go through the breakup, the sad part. So I didn't have resentment, but then probably where me wanting everyone to like me came from, because my dad didn't.
Yeah,
it's a really fucking simple thing to say, and everyone says that it's so cliche. And so from that, from growing up, all I wanted was to put, even my schoolmates. I grew up at the time where what you just didn't show emotion. Everyone would be like, fuck you, and see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you would sign off to your best mates.
Yeah,
you'd never know if you would see them again.
Especially in Australia.
Yeah.
You
a fucking idiot.
Yeah, fuck you.
Neck up.
Dickhead.
Yeah. And then you just see the next day. Whereas I'd always have to like either shake their hand and end on a good
Give 'em a hug
rapport.
or
Yeah.
like,
And just be
yeah.
like, today was awesome, man. I even do it now. Like,
Yeah.
I messaged one of my business partners 40 yesterday. We worked
Say
together.
something real nice.
I didn't even mean to.
Yeah.
We worked together on the weekend. We put in a solid effort, and I just felt this need. I was
you
like,
make me happy, man.
I was like, man, thank you so much for the effort.
Yeah.
Not that I needed to do it. He worked just as much as me. We're both owners.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just said it's been great. I just really love that, and I don't know whether that's
People, not enough people do that, I don't think.
I think a lot of people want to be the best
Yeah.
at something and not be vulnerable, but
Blokes struggle to do that, hey.
yeah. Well, I am not sure because I'm always the one that's trying to get him to like me.
Yeah.
But if I was a little bit more like, not so friendly,
Yeah.
I don't think people would try and be friendly with me. I think the dudes are a lot more closed off and don't really care about making people feel good. I don't know. Is that a general consensus?
I think so, man.
Not all the time. There is a lot of great people. Erpy's one. He'll as soon as you meet him, it's
Keeper.
let's go. What do
He's
you
a
want?
keeper.
You want a beer? Oh, do you want to
look
lift
after, yeah.
somewhere? Do you want? Yeah, he's that guy too. So good having mates like that.
Let me ask you this. Obviously, off the back of opening the, Revel, opening here, you have people who want to be your friend for the wrong reasons potentially, or people who want to use you, or people superficial. You can see it, right?
Yeah.
How do you go handling that sort of stuff?
Yeah, it's not too bad. It happened heaps with Uptowns because everyone wanted to try and get in because it was so busy. It's only 120 capacity.
Yeah.
So a lot of girls really. A lot of girls like, hey baby.
Yeah.
Hey baby, like, we're out the front. I'm like, do you even know? Like one girl said to the guard one time, "Is Jeremy here?"
It's Jeremy.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm just waiting for Jeremy.
You would have got it at the time working at the wharf, yeah. I think it was more that stuff, whereas as people wanting to be my friend because if things have been successful or doing music or being the DJ, usually it's followed by like us gelling anyway as well.
Okay,
I mean, I don't see you very often, but when I have seen you, we've gelled. You haven't come and I haven't. You know that I haven't come and said hello to you because you're with KP or something. I'm coming over because I'm like, what's up? And then you're the same. Like you guys came to the Charlie's launch and other things too. So it's kind of more just my personality. Just kind of can tell when you're gelling with someone and they're a real friend, and then you just kind of just don't pay any attention for the other things. But
I love that.
Can I finish? There was a story that I wanted to tell.
Go, man.
Which is good. How long can we go for?
No, we're sweet for time. I want to talk about Revel a little bit as well.
Yeah, okay.
Like, you go your story.
Yeah, because this story's tied into.
Okay, good.
Singing.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And it's Revella too, just Revella.
Revella.
Yeah,
sorry,
A on the
Revel.
end. Cut that bit out.
Cut that bit. Edit. Thank you.
So getting back to singing.
Yeah.
So I was still with Maisie's mum. We just had a kid, and I was about to the music shop that I was working at. I was working full time at a music shop and gigging a tiny bit at the pubs on the side. This is before I made the decision, so I needed a push. Yep. Same with Mo pulling out and just going, here you go. What are you going to do with it? I had a push with that for music.
Yep.
And that was the business was going to go into liquidation that I was working at.
Yep.
And I was just like, now I've got to start doing gigs. I've got to do gigs. Like, that's all I know. So I went to a booking agent and said, get me 3 a week and I'll do anything you want. Yep. And then he's like, make some good videos. So I did that, and then it went on and from there. Yep. But just this one story, man. So you know how I was talking about not knowing my dad. So he didn't even come to the hospital. Mum took me into work and was like, hey, this is him. And he was like, nah, don't want anything. It's just the old school, way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, his family got wind of that he had a child. Yep. And when I was a baby, when I was 1 or 2 or 3, they would offer for me to come and stay for a night or two because I think they, grandmas and the Argentinians, so it was nono. They wanted to have me around, and so there was aunties around. My dad was never there, but they would just
the external family were keen to have.
So my mum, I don't know how it happened, but my mum would get in contact and I would spend some time. But I only remember from photos that I've seen. And I wouldn't recognise anyone if I saw them, but I would remember photos, and I remember maybe going there 3 times. That's it. And then never speaking again. They live in Sydney. No hard feelings, but just, people, life changes and you just forget about it. Yeah. So, I've got a sister as well and all that stuff, but I don't really, because he had another child. I'm not fussed. So the story goes that I'm now married with a kid and doing music, and my job's about to run out. And so I was doing a lot more gigging, and I was starting to earn good money. And Maisie's mum, beautiful, goes and puts one of those videos in for The Voice, the first season of The Voice.
Oh, shit, I had this written down.
Yeah, this is it, bro. This is the story.
Keep going. Sorry, yeah.
So she puts in an audition tape for The Voice.
Yep.
And I hated singing shows because I was a true muso back then, which was we hated singing shows if you're a muso.
Yep.
And then you liked bands like Gang of Youth, Gang of Youth and stuff. And so she puts in a fucking video of me. God, I sound really old. Don't sound 27 now.
Old TV to put it in.
Please, this doesn't represent how old I actually am. So she puts in a fucking gramophone.
Who the fuck says that? She put it in a tape. Who the fuck says that nowadays?
Well, I didn't even have tape back then. I don't know why I'm saying it. It was on YouTube. I don't know why I'm saying tape.
Who actually uses the word tape nowadays?
I don't know, bro. These cunts don't even know what a tape is.
Tape.
They don't know what a DVD is. Anyway, she sends in a video to The Voice. It was the first season of The Voice. So you remember when there was X Factor and everything, and then The Voice was the American one that hadn't come here yet, and it was big because it was like only 100 people got to the end to go in front of the judges, and they had the big names coming out. They had like, I think it was Ronan Keating and Benji Madden when Good Charlotte was popping off, and a couple of, was someone else, a woman that was famous? It wasn't Delta level, it was like the next level.
Yeah, wow.
Anyway, she sends it in, it gets accepted. And to go, because you get four auditions before you get on TV. Shit. So they cut down all of Australia. How many people in Australia?
Million.
Yeah, so 24 million, and out of all those people, they've got to get it down to 100. Not that everyone auditions, but
a lot would have been.
So I get through the first round, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll go in and do it.
Yeah.
So I go to Sydney, and I sing for these people. It's just like in a dingy room. It was honestly like you hear actors talk about doing acting auditions, and it's just shit. That's what it was like.
Yeah.
And they just sit
Nothing
here.
Special.
They sit here, and you just get your guitar, and you play, and they go, thank you. And then
That's
you just leave. And then I got through the next one. I was like, holy shit. And then they're like, okay, the producers want to see you now. Shit. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. I'll do it.
Yeah.
So
Keep it rolling.
So we do it. And I sing. I think I sung Yellow by Coldplay. For them.
Oh, Yellow.
Yeah. And then Tonight by Hot Shell Ray, because that was the song at times. Like,
Tonight,
there's a party on the rooftop,
top of the world tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight, there's a party I don't know if I'll make it, but watch how good I'll take it. It's alright. Tonight.
So I sing that just on acoustic, and it was the fucking best.
Yeah,
Did a sick rendition of it. And they're like, we fucking love you. You're through to the top 100.
Shit.
And I was like,
did they tell you straight after you performed?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember getting an email and doing the whole movie opening and going, running into the kitchen. So I think that's how they said, we love you.
Yeah.
Well, we think you're great with the guitar and you've got a good vibe. It was when I was still wearing skinny jeans and I had shaved head, band shirts and shit.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you're going to be performing in front of the judges now. This is TV.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. And they do the whole thing where they do a backstory.
Yeah.
And then they do the interviews and your makeup.
I remember watching those shows, man.
And then the doors open and you just walk out on the stage. What people don't know is that's filmed on 3 separate days, all of that.
Yeah, wow.
So they make it look like that you get interviewed and you walk through the doors and you're on stage.
All on the same day, yeah.
What happens is you do an interview and then you come back the next day and then they film you walking out the back with a fake set.
Yeah.
And then they have you doing the live performance in front of everybody, which is scary as.
Yeah.
So I go into makeup for the next day after I've done my audition, and there's this room. It kind of feels like this, and there was 10 people in this room. So like 5 hairdressers, 5 makeup artists.
Yeah.
Okay, and you got to remember this is in Fox Studios in Sydney.
Yeah.
I've been a Newcastle boy my whole life. I'm way out of my depth. I'm like nervous, and I'm trying to just be a little funny. So I come in, be like a bit loud, hey everybody.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, and they kind of liked that I was breaking the ice.
Yeah.
And I sit down, and the lady gets up my photo from the 2 days before where I did my interview. She's like, oh, your beard needs a little trim because it's grown, because we need to make it look the same.
Yeah, wow.
And then and she goes, oh, I don't know about the sides of your hair. And she goes, does your hair usually grow fast? And I just wanted to be funny, and I said, well, I'm Argentinian, but I don't have hair on my back or anything. You know what I mean? So I say that, and I say it loud enough that this lady hears me that was doing hair. She goes, are you Argentinian? And I said, I said, yeah. And she goes, it starts talking Spanish.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, no, I don't. No Espanol. It's on my dad's side, and I don't know him. Like that was from his side, so I don't know any Spanish.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, cool. What's his name? And I might know him from the Argentinian community.
Oh, fuck.
And I say, his name's Angel. And there was 20 people in this room, and you could hear a fucking pin drop. She looked at me.
Don't tell me.
And she said, that's my brother.
What?
I've got fucking goosebumps, bro. She goes, I'm your auntie.
What?
She goes, I'm your auntie, bro.
No fucking way.
Is that not the craziest fucking story you've ever heard in your life?
Yeah, it is.
I'm about to go on TV.
Like,
yeah. I'm about to cry now.
Holy shit.
So I'm about to go on TV, getting hair and makeup done in this room.
That dropped on ya.
In this room full of business, like, there's real snooty in Sydney, like, and in the film industry as well. They don't they want you in and out.
Yeah.
And so she starts bawling, and she's like, Jerome, like, and I've got photos of her
bro.
in like when I was a baby, and her carrying me and shit.
What?
She cuddles me, she cries, and everyone's kind of like, what's going on? They're that, what's going on? But also trying to still keep the show going, like the background
we've
going.
Keep going.
They're like, you guys just go into another room, because obviously we've got 20 years of catching up.
Oh my God.
So we go out there and we're just crying together, and just like, she's like, how is everyone? What are you doing? I said, I'm here with my wife and my kid. I'm about to go on The Voice. She goes, oh my God, I can't believe you've made something yourself. Because obviously she just sees that I've come from like, a dad who wasn't there, who was her brother, like kind of deadbeat. And then like my mum, who's a single parent and living in Newey and nobodies, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then now I'm sitting at Fox Studios about to sing in front of 1 million people. It was like, insane, dude. I'm so glad.
That is
I'm so glad to tell a story, because I've only ever told it to my friends.
Yeah, wow.
And so then,
what are the chances of that, by the way?
Can someone do the math on that? Is that not insane? Because it's not only that I was there on the day that she auditioned, that she became a hairdresser, and the fact that I yelled out the word Argentinian. If I didn't say that, I would have walked past my auntie twice.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? How many times do things like that fucking happen?
Man.
Moe doing another cafe and saying, I can't do this one, it's yours now. If he didn't ever say that, I would never have done this, and I'd never be in the position that I am today.
Shit, man.
Owning a wedding venue. Like,
that's insane.
So yeah, we go out there and we cry.
I can't believe that,
And
man.
so then I'm kind of fucking, I'm too jacked up and not really, what happens after you cry? You can barely sing.
Yeah.
Not using that as an excuse, PS. I didn't sing well enough. But also the other thing too is they go in alphabetical order of your last name.
Yeah.
So half of them had already picked their teams. They're only allowed 12 people.
Yeah.
Half of them already picked their teams, and so the rest were being very picky with who they chose. So if they had too many boys, they were only looking for girls.
Yep.
And so they made me go out there, and they're like, we don't want you to play guitar, actually. We just want you to sing, which is my I needed it.
You need to sing.
I needed it. I needed
to play guitar.
Yeah. So I went out there and I was a bit nervous, just been crying. Actually, no. Sorry, can I keep going with this story?
Bro, please do.
So The Great Gatsby was getting filmed across the way.
What
like in the next studio. They filmed The Great Gatsby in Fox Studios, bro. One of the biggest movies of all time. Baz Luhrmann's just cooking up in the next studio, and little old fat Jerome's singing Yellow. All right?
Crying after just meeting his auntie.
So I'm just crying about my auntie. This story should go fucking viral, bro. If it doesn't, I fucking quit this industry. So I'm sitting down at the back, and then there's like a little bench seat like this in a dark hallway, bro. It's like not glamorous at all, this stuff. The stage, everything's good, but I'm sitting in this dark alleyway. And then there was like a door where like people from the industry and shit would poke their head through.
Yeah.
Some dude pokes his head through, sits down next to me.
And it's your dad. It's your dad. The story gets better. It's your fucking dad. And he's the guy judging you.
He runs Fox Studios. Now I'm a millionaire.
He's filming Great Gatsby.
Oh shit. Oh, that's nowhere near as good as what I was going to say.
Keep going. Sorry.
No, so I'm sitting down and I'm trying to calm down from crying and meeting my auntie, and I'm like, and she's talking about my sister who I've never met.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm just sitting here. And this guy comes and sits down next to me. And I'm like, hey, Manny, you about to go on? And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, it's fucking Joel Edgerton. He's sat down next to me on the seat that you're meant to go out on. And then I just watched Warrior. Did you ever watch Warrior?
Yeah.
How fucking underrated is that Warrior movie?
Great.
But anyway, meanwhile, he's just starring with Leo DiCaprio in Next Door for the Gatsby. And so he's sitting there in his costume.
Leo was probably next door.
Leo was probably on a 23-year-old date.
Yeah, it's true.
He's out to lunch. I mean, he was only like 30 then, but
he
it was
love dating, doesn't he?
he sat down and just made me like. Then I forgot all about that, and I was like, oh my god, I'm sitting next to Joel Edgerton, and he just looked like the man, like because he was still all a bit jacked up from the Warrior movie, and he was doing Gatsby, and he's looking slick. He's like, good luck out there, man. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. And then I just went out there and I was like,
what the fuck?
look at the stars, how they shine. Oh my god, I met my auntie. So, but yeah, the moral of the story is they didn't turn around, so I got rejected in front of 1 million people.
Would that be like the most crazy day of your life? Would you say?
Probably, yeah. That story there, and then the another one where I met Hailey Bieber. Party with Hailey Bieber. Yeah.
Can we go into that?
Can you go into that story? Yeah, let me tie this one up in a bow.
Bro.
No one turned around.
Hailey Bieber.
Yeah, bro. I've got so many good stories. Do you want me to just keep riffing?
No, give me the Hailey Bieber one, bro.
Okay, sweet. Not meeting my mum and dad or my dad and aunties or anything. Fuck your family off, Bieber.
Hey, we just hit that, bro. Let's go. We'll get back to that.
So, and this is a fucking good story too.
Holy shit.
So me and Gussie, 15 years ago, when we were living together, we're like, let's do an America trip, because we work really well together. Where he's the brains, and I'm the fun, but also know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So he's he's like, okay, this guy's not going to fly off the handle. Like I'm very smart. I do weddings for a living, so I have to be organised and on time, but I'm also so fun. So we're like, let's do a trip. So we planned this trip, man. It was absolutely fucking amazing. The things that we saw and things we did love. We went to New Orleans Jazz Fest, and we went to Miami, we went to here, we went to there. And it was just the best. And one of the pinnacles was, so this was, I'm taking 15 years ago, maybe longer. Shit. She was Hailey Baldwin back then. She wasn't Hailey Bieber.
Nah.
And her and Bieber weren't even hanging. So at that point, Bieber was hanging with the Churchy crew. And there was a photographer called Joey Tomini. And because he was from Hillsong, Sydney. And he would go, he was American, but he'd come over to Hillsong, Sydney and come back. And at that time, I grew up in church. And then, then became a heathen and was partying and everything. So anyway. We standing out the front of this club on a Tuesday night in New York. And Mo used to have a mate that of his works at the club is the what do they call the guy that stands on the front?
The same.
He's not a host. He's the guy that the promoter. Promoter, yeah. So he's out there, he's promoting, and we're like, oh, we've got asked to ask for like Nick or someone. And like, who are you guys? And like, we're friends from Australia. And Moe had messaged him and said, look after these boys. So Nick just comes out. He's like, hey, boys. And he's Australian. Comes out and goes, hey, boys, how you doing? We're like, yeah, good. He goes, oh, come in. And the place is fucking jumping.
Is it?
Tuesday night, pumping. We skip this line. We feel like fucking royalty. But me and him are also still very humble. We're like, oh. Like, we didn't walk in going like, we are the king. So he loved that. And he was like, let me take you around. And so he's taking us to all like these secret rooms.
So he's like, fuck, this is hectic.
Yeah, so he's getting us drinks and he pops open this like fake door and goes into a room like with karaoke in there.
Shit.
Spent a little bit of time in there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, as you do.
And then so we pop out and he goes, I'm actually here with a whole bunch of friends that are up in the booth. You go up there, I'll be up there in a sec.
In the booth.
And so we get our drinks and we get up there and he meets up and he goes, this is my friends. And he goes around and starts naming them all. And I see this guy, Joey Tomini. Right, because once again, you got to remember, Hailey wasn't famous when she was a Baldwin. She was just known for being Alec Baldwin's kid. So I had no idea who she was. So get this, he introduces everyone, and she's been a model at this point. I think she had 1 million followers, only 1 million. This went Instagram. I think I've got a
million.
I've got a screenshot of the night that I like the thing she posted that day. And it's I'll give it to you. You can post. You can throw it up. And I'll show you the photo of Joey Tomini. I see Joey Tomini, this guy, and I'm like, what are the fucking chances? I follow you. I'm from Australia. I used to be involved in Hillsong. Like, we would know the same people. Now we're in the club together with all these people. And he goes, no way, man. Like, you know these people, like, blah, blah. And he was wearing the People Versus shirt. You know, the People Versus band? So he was the photographer for them and part of that. And Angus was wearing a People Versus shirt.
What the fuck?
So we get with him, bro.
So we're boys.
So we're boys.
You're the boys.
So we're up on the seats, got these girls ain't loyal. Yeah. Come on, baby. And we getting photos. And I asked Angus to take a photo of me and him.
Yeah.
Looking great. And then anyway, he goes, what have you been up to today? Why are you all here? And he goes, we've been doing a photo shoot for a brand. And he points to Hailey. Now, Hailey, so pretend you're Hailey, right?
Yeah.
And Joe's here.
Yeah.
Joe's the bottle here. So I'm been sitting next to Hailey this whole time.
Oh my God.
She's just with a couple of friends. And I'm like this, right? Talking, I'm like, Joe, yeah, we get a photo. And then I
Yeah.
sit back down and Angus is sitting opposite me.
Yeah.
And then he goes with Hailey. And I was like, oh, yeah, cool. And then we just keep talking about church. So
But did you know who it was? Like, did you know who she was at all?
No, not at all. Because he didn't even say her name. He just said Hales or something like that.
Hales, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but what she looked like, she wasn't super famous then. She would have been famous. Like, everyone would have been in the club going, holy shit. Because she was still hanging at Bieber's house. Like, they had a
They were
crew
still
for a bit.
friends before,
They were all
sorta.
in the pool and jumping off each other's roof and,
Yeah,
friends
whatever.
with the Jenners and that back
Yeah,
then. But
yeah,
she just
yeah.
didn't have a name for herself.
Yeah.
Then. And so anyway, that conversation wraps up. And then I just kind of do those memes where the white guy's in the club yelling in the chicks ear going,
Oh my God.
What, how many times you come here? Yeah. So I turned, bro. Turned to her and she's kind of facing straight, just drinking, doing this. Hailey fucking Baldwin.
Oh my God, man.
Angus will fucking attest to this. Attest?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I turn to her and I say, so what do you do with yourself?
Fuck. Did she brush you heavy?
100%.
Was she
Can
like-
you imagine?
Did she look you up and down?
It happens when some of the
Hailey
bitches from
Baldwin.
Newcastle are a little bit
Yeah,
Insta famous.
yeah, yeah.
You're like, what's your name? They're like, don't know
You
me.
don't know me.
So she
full razzed ya.
she didn't brush me, but she
Nah.
just was like, pardon? Like, as in like, did you
Are you
ask?
fucking
And
serious?
she goes, I do a little bit of modeling.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. And then so I just obliviously just start trying to
Chatting
rack
to
up this
her.
conversation.
Yeah.
The story gets crazier. She's sitting next to a snowboarding Olympic medalist.
Oh my God.
And she's like,
bro.
this is Tony. And then the guy who's Australian, he's obviously trying to give us a little bit of ear to be like,
Yeah,
he's gold medalist, like,
Yeah.
and they're all hanging out. We're like, boom, 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 boys. And then he felt like he was trying to get with her.
Right.
So every time I would talk to him or be involved in conversation,
You
the
would get
conversation was
nice.
good. He would just shut me down.
Boom.
And then so we just ended up like, we were pouring drinks because they just had bottles on the table. We're just pouring drinks.
so you were
she,
partying with
She
Hailey
wouldn't have been
Baldwin?
21 either, bro.
Really?
Nah, she would have been like 19.
Shit.
So we're honestly partying
Yeah.
in this booth,
Yeah.
standing up on the chairs.
Yeah.
Chris Brown's Loyals on. I specifically
Yeah.
remember standing up. And me and Gussie then we just like, it was our first week, so we were having the best time. And then they slowly start to peel off.
Yeah. Just drop like
Slowly
flies.
start to peel off as it gets later. We're having the best time, and you can tell because there's no after parties there. It's like you go to someone's house.
Yeah.
And then they didn't want to bring us. Put it that way.
Really?
Yeah, I think that we were just too Australian. You know what I mean?
How could they not love you boys?
They could
mate?
tell that we were dweebs, I think.
Fuck.
And also, too, literally were probably going back to Bieber's because
I was gonna say.
because the end of the story is they all leave and me and Ang's like, we look and then it's just us two like this. And we're like, where is
I've been in that
Where is everyone? Have you really been in this
You
position?
blink and it's just like you and a mate.
And
or
it's just
something. It's
you
like,
and
what
some
the
dude that you
fuck?
only relatively know.
Don't know that
Yeah.
well.
And you're like, I'm just going to get a drink.
And you're like, oh, I don't know you well enough to like, should we go back somewhere?
Yeah.
Like,
And so have I just pushed you right out of frame?
no. Sweet.
No? I'm just
Sweet.
here?
No, sweet.
And then they all leave, and then we try and message the Australian guy who let us in and be like, hey, man, where's all gone?
Where is
Ghosts
everyone?
us.
Oh, shit.
Ghosts us. And then I was like, fuck, I can't believe we saw Joey Tamini, bro, right? So I'm saying this to Angus all the way home. Got a photo, posted it and everything. And then I was like, who was the girl that he was, like, he said, yeah, nice to meet you. It was good.
Yeah.
I said, who was the girl that he was with? Like, she was a little bit cute.
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't know, let's try and find her. And we found her and we're like, that's Alec Baldwin's
Hailey
chalk.
fucking
Yeah.
Baldwin.
Then we'd watch her story and she's jumping off the roof in Justin Bieber's pool.
Oh my god.
And then we just literally, I went,
Were
dude.
you just like,
I went like this and I just went,
asked her what she
dude,
did.
I just said, hey, what do you do with yourself? Like the most white boy thing you could ever do.
Yeah.
May as well
Yeah.
have a tribal tat.
Yeah.
No one's got tribal tattoo? No. And be like fully sunburned in the pool at in Bali.
Yeah. That is white boy.
So that happened and that, and I missed my chance to be with Hailey.
Oh my god, bro.
And
imagine
now-
if you did.
Now that I think about it, though, too, when she did turn around and we were talking, and it was this close because we're in a booth. You know, in
Yeah.
a booth, everyone's leaning over. And
Yeah.
It we were like, I saw her and I got an air of, I didn't necessarily find her pretty because I feel like that she was still plain back then.
Yeah.
Everyone gets work done. Let's not
be
deny it. She
honest.
looks very womanly now.
Yeah.
Before she looked a little bit like a kid. Well, I mean, she would have been 19, 20.
Yeah.
She, but she had a famous, you know, those people that
Aura.
look, or they're famous.
You can just tell, yeah.
And so I was kind of a little bit even, you know, with my gift of the gab, I was finding it hard to be like, hey, oh yeah, cool. Like I was just stunned.
Fuck.
And then yeah, Justin stole her from me.
My God, bro. Can you believe that? Jerome?
Yeah.
Oh, the one that got away.
The one that got away.
Hailey freaking book. Between that and the voice
Honey story.
man, we'll be clipping that up for sure.
Yeah, definitely, man. There's some fucking...
Well, we might wrap it up. It's an hour and a half. I think that's going to give everyone...
Have we been talking for an hour and a half?
An hour and a half, bro.
We could be Joe Rogan on this shit doing
Well,
3
it makes
hours.
you think. He does 3-hour podcasts. I always think, imagine talking for 3 hours. But for someone like you, mate, we could go for it.
Yeah, and I'm only halfway done. Get me back.
I know. We will.
Get me back, and then, like, you know, it can be whatever because stories are fun sometimes.
They are, bro.
But then mixing in a bit of deep's good because...
We like that. We like that.
because deep, I mean...
You've got to be able to talk
Everyone,
about that shit.
well, because everyone comes from a different life too. So you know what I mean. Everyone comes from something different. So when someone shares something, then you know those people out there are getting something out of it. You come from a completely different life. You've had parents that are together.
True.
Dad's probably doing good and all that kind of stuff, but
True.
have had different struggles to what I've had. You know, it's
And that's what I want
good
to
talk
say.
about
Like,
stuff.
there's two takeaway or two take home messages for me with your story. Is that one, I didn't know that you didn't have a dad growing up, and I found it really interesting hearing about your experience with that, and also what you went through with your kid. Some crazy shit, man. But hats off to you, and obviously it's been so nice getting to know you over the last couple of years, and you're a big personality in Newey, and hopefully
I'm not really.
Well, as in not profile.
Yeah,
I mean,
good.
like
Yeah,
you.
I don't want to ever feel like that. I mean, people do go, oh, you know, you're
No.
but I'm
I mean more like you as in a person when we chat.
Yeah.
Just your personality.
Yeah, man.
It's like,
I honestly,
know?
it doesn't matter what mood I'm in. I need to come in with the energy that I feel like that everyone deserves. But
I love that.
Don't you hate that when people come in like they've had a bad day and they're just the ones moping around?
I know.
You pick this shit up.
Fucking
Are
fix it.
you like
Fix
that? What
it.
was it like when you and KP were living together? Who was the...
Oh, bro. He's got a pretty crazy life, hey. You know,
Yeah, I can imagine,
he's got
yeah.
a lot of pressure. So he goes through a lot of different stuff, and he's been through heaps. So
I feel so... People don't understand what pressure is.
Oh man,
People just brush off pressure.
So easy to criticize.
So
judge.
easy. And like you know, the only pressures that I've ever faced in my life are like big life things like, you know, get the breaking up a marriage, like having a marriage breakup, the pressure of what everyone's going to feel, and talking about you and all that stuff. And then having a kid, and then you know, then a job that's got a lot of pressure with singing someone down the aisle or for their first dance.
True.
You know, that's pressure enough for me. Whereas this guy that's got all the media on him, and wanting him to fail.
They love it, eh?
And then also too,
people don't
he's
realize
just a normal person. You would see he's a normal person, man.
People don't realize how hard it is.
They don't. Pressure is fucked.
And he what he does with how he carries himself, I'm telling you now, it's a very small percentage of people who can carry themselves the way he does.
Yeah.
And it's not easy.
Yeah, no,
and
I
I've
can
seen
imagine.
all the ugly shit as well.
Yeah.
But
that's why I asked, because I can imagine there would have been some ups and downs in the house, and you probably having to be like
big time, man. And that's the thing. Like, but it's just at the end of the day, like you said, he's a person. I'm a person where our friendship is based off who we are. There's nothing more than that. So we can sit like this and we can chat for hours, get along, laugh, and like forget about all the other shit, you know? Yep. And that's what it's all about. And that's what this podcast is about, you know? And hopefully if you're listening out there, you've had a chance to maybe forget about your troubles in life, or your shitty day at work, or even your kids who are pissing you off. I don't know. But
they do.
but thanks very much for listening, guys. This will be episode number 12. Jerome, thanks for coming on, mate. It's been I'm getting you back on. I'll see you this
we're going to have to make this a thing.
Stay safe, guys. We'll see you guys around. Thanks very much for this.
Cheers.
Peace out.
That was good, bro.